If you are currently injured, this video will reduce your pain in an extremely short time frame. It will increase your range of motion, and it will take a once weaker area to a stronger area to ensure the chance of a reoccurring injury is extremely small. My promise to you in this video is that I'm going to give you an effective 6-step process on exactly what to do after an injury, giving you full confidence and independence over your injury rehab, so you can never be left to one side, neglected and unfit to do some activities. Gentlemen, you are probably thinking, who the hell am I and what right do I have to talk about these matters? Well, I'm a former British paratrooper and Special Forces Support Group operator. There is a lot of money to be saved in the army by getting this right. Because 5, 6, 7 years ago, the army was getting this catastrophically wrong. They didn't understand that training people in a certain way would reduce the amount of injuries, would reduce the cost to put them through injury pathways, surgery, and all that stuff. There's a huge wage bill that is actually getting productively worked on by getting this right, instead of people being sidelined and not really doing anything. So they heavily invested in this process, and now way more people, and they've saved hundreds of millions over the past 5 years. In that time, I have literally sponged all knowledge I can from the physios that have literally got full clinics all day, every day, and the exercise rehab instructors. And this is the conclusion of everything I've ever learnt about injuries. Nowadays, I am out the army. Today is actually my last day in service. And I am fully online through the longevity program, and I coach men over the age of 40 from extreme sporting backgrounds to ensure that they can continue these extreme endeavours for many, many decades to come. The plan for this video and the promise in which I'm going to deliver on, I'm going to talk to you about step number 1, the occurrence phase. In that, you're going to set yourself a new goal, new expectations based off your current situation. After that phase, we're going to go into an isometric phase, which will be step number 2, an eccentric phase, step number 3, concentric, step number 4, step number 5 will be full range, step number 6 will be introducing impact. Gentlemen, if you clicked on this video and you were injured, you are absolutely going to be, this is going to be one of the best videos you've ever seen in your life. I can guarantee that. So, does that sound alright to you? Make myself a little bit smaller. Catch your breath. And let's get into the step number 1. The occurrence phase. Something has happened. This is extremely crucial that you have the ability to reflect on the exact moment that the injury occurred. What happened? How did it happen? How did it feel? The more information you know about what happened, the more guidance you have in the first path to take in order to strengthen a previously weaker area. Now, this is extremely important. If you overlook this and rest and hope for the best, not good enough, right? So, number 1, connect. You need to connect to what happened. Connect with your body, connect with your mind, and figure out how it happened. Really slow time. How exactly did it happen? Because that will then guide what muscles were damaged, what tendons were damaged, what ligaments were damaged. Number 2, disconnect, right? The system tells you to disconnect. The first thing the system will say you must do post-injury is take medication. Take anti-inflammatories, take painkillers. Anti-inflammatories reduce inflammation, which reduces blood flow, which reduces repair, regeneration and recovery. Rest doesn't really increase strength. Ice reduces inflammation, Compression reduces inflammation, and elevation reduces blood flow. This creates a disconnect from you and the injured area. The system tells you to do this. Now, the system is very good at a lot of things. However, this is one thing that they get very, very wrong. So the importance of number one, to guide your action plan, is crucial. So I need you to be able to look, reflect, and figure out exactly what happened, how you moved to cause that injury. Because the injury highlighted the weaker area. So, furthermore, you figure that out, and then your new goal is always the same, depending on your current level of injury. Your first goal, if you're really in a bad way, should be to restore range of motion and then earn the right to train at a high intensity, especially in those areas of concern. Right? And you're probably thinking, how on earth do I do that? Trust me, you don't need a physio to tell you how to do this. This video will tell you exactly how to do this from zero all the way up to pretty much getting back to your activities. Can't wait to get this out there, gentlemen. So, restore range of motion and earn the right to train at high intensity without pain. It's extremely important that you know we need to earn the right to get back to shenanigans without pain in these injured areas, right? So from this, assess the baseline. You need to basically, with the information you've got about your weaker areas, you need to go and find out in a gym exactly how strong or how weak that area currently is. And this is called assessing the baseline. Without this, you will never know how strong you were on day number 1, day number 2 of the injury occurring. You've got nothing to go off. You're guessing. And the system will say, rest for 2 weeks, rest for 6 weeks. Just go into the gym and just establish a baseline. Because now you know, for example, your patellar tendon cannot cope with more than 5 kilos for 7 reps on a leg extension machine because you've twisted your knee on a rock climbing wall. You know that is your current strength level. So then in a week's time and you're doing more reps on more weight, you can take a lot of satisfaction from that. Assessing the baseline. Very important that you do this as soon as possible. With that, every rest day you have is a missed opportunity for growth. And I do not want to sound like a stupid self-help book, but it's true. You need to plan your training. You need to plan out your training week. And you're probably thinking, how the hell do I do that? I have no knowledge. I have no guidance. Right? Research the best areas for the area that you're weak. There is a lot of information out there. If you've got an injured knee and you injured your knee moving sideways and slowing down and the outside of your knee hurts, then you need to research how to strengthen the outside of my knee. You're going to get a bunch of exercises, stick with about 5, and that will be probably all right. But more importantly, the volume in which you train these weaker areas should be more. You should train your weaker areas more than you should train the areas in which you are not injured. Now again, I keep referring to the system and how wrong they get this. They will tell you to rest, and they will tell you to avoid anything that risks further injury. Right? I'm not saying be stupid. I'm expecting you to be extremely conscious, concentrating, and extremely careful in your approach. However, you need to get strong at the end of the day because these issues are not going to go away unless you consciously apply force to these areas to get them stronger. Does that make sense? So if you're injured, you train them areas more than you train your non-injured areas. The system will tell you to rest. One more point on this. The system tells you to rest because there is a blame culture, and then themselves are liable for any sort of damages that would occur to you based off their advice. So they are hesitant to give you actual really good advice. Very hesitant, because they want their jobs, they want to pay their bills, they don't want to be scrutinised in the workplace because they have told you something that is a little bit risky. So there's a reason for it. They don't just do it because they want to hide knowledge from you. There's a reason for it. But there's still a lot of good physios out there. They're just rare. Moving on. You've basically reflected, you've connected with the injury. You know exactly what type of movement the injury occurred from. You've assessed your baseline, and now you've made a plan. You've got a bunch of exercises which you know work that area in which the injury was sustained. You are then going to go on to step number 2, and this is the isometric phase. An isometric contraction is a contraction of the muscles where there is no change in the joint length. So the muscles remain contracted, and what the beauty of this is, you allow blood and nutrients to repair and regenerate and get the muscles stronger without any aggravation of the joint. This is unbelievable. And what you do with the isometric phase, the purpose of it is to incrementally restore your full pain-free range of motion as fast as possible. And gentlemen, right, there's a lot of big words on these slides. If you've made it this far, this step alone will get you pain-free, and it will get you pain-free faster than you would have ever imagined in your life. The isometric phase. Honestly, the amount of people I've got pain-free in a couple of weeks is ridiculous. However, there is a problem with getting pain-free that quickly, because then you think you can do everything after you're pain-free. Just because you're pain-free doesn't mean you're strong. But isometric training is very commonly used by physiotherapists and exercise rehab instructors in order to get people pain-free and, more importantly, restore full range of motion. Full range of motion is important, so then we can go on to further strength training after this step. So what do? You've got your exercise, you've got your bank of exercises, you've got the injured area. You research how to isometrically load the area of the body which is injured. For example, like this. I will show you exactly how to do that. Come on. Right, Safari. Let's go a new window. Google. Watch. Honestly, I'm really, really trying hard to give you the confidence and independence to do this yourself, because once you can do this yourself, it is an absolute superpower. Isometrically load the patellar tendon. If you've got patellar tendonitis, this is your start point. So, how the hell do you do that? We've got images. Isometrically loading, like I said earlier on, it is where the joint doesn't change in angle, right? You could do it on a leg extension machine. You could do it on chair sits. So, E3 Rehab, legendary business this. Similar to myself. Equally as legendary. However, they've been in the game a little bit longer than I have in the online space. But anyway, come on, computer, come on. Get off my email address. Fuck off, man. Let's go. Nah, fail. E3 Rehab, shite. So you can see straight away, right? Stage 0, isometrics. Right, me and E3 Rehab have an agreement on this. However, I say before the isometrics, there needs to be a bit of an intelligence gathering phase. You can see that he's doing chair sits. Yeah, against the wall. You will start close to standing with a micro knee bend, and then you will incrementally increase the range of motion until you are 90 degrees at the knee joint. This is unbelievable for the patellar tendon. After that, you're going to progress on a single leg. After that, you're going to increase the range of motion to beyond 90 degrees. And then you're going to start getting involved in other areas. However, with isometric training, hopefully you appreciate that, how to isometrically load my injured area. That is all you need to know. You do that on the internet, you'll be pain-free in a few weeks. Literally. Call me out on it. Comment below if you're not pain-free in a few weeks after this video comes out. Anyway, volume. 5 to 10 sets of no more than 30 seconds. And that seems like a lot. And what I mean by this volume is I mean this per day. 5 to 10 sets per day. Isometric training doesn't really damage the muscles that much. What it does though is it gives you your muscles and soft tissues a rush of blood and nutrients to these damaged areas at a very low risk. It's absolutely unbelievable. The body's natural anesthesia. This has been heavily studied, by the way. Look on Google Scholar and search rehab for whatever isometric training. You will see all the studies there. So 5 to 10 sessions per day is a lot. And like I said earlier on, your weaker areas should be your priority. How do you approach this? You oppose where the pain is, right? So if your pain is in a deeper squat position on the patellar tendon, then you would start standing and you would incrementally, every few days, you would reduce the range of motion. Every few days, reduce the range of motion. But you have to do it according to pain. Yeah? So don't go more than a 6 out of 10 pain. Earn the right to progress. And over time, you will get stronger because your muscle's more tolerated to this type of stress. You will get stronger, the pain will subside. Honestly, this happens so quick because the amount of volume you're accumulating every week is just absolutely mental. Right. The caveat to all this is the area is still weak, so you need to be fully connected and you need to fully concentrate on these areas. You can't just simply be a bull in a china shop and expect watching this YouTube video is going to work. There's a little bit more to just that. You need to focus when you have weaker areas because they're still high risk. But just because they're high risk doesn't mean you listen to the doctor and rest for 6 weeks and then put your feet up. No, go straight to the gym and concentrate and get these areas strong now, and in 6 weeks' time you'll be better. Anyway, slightly increase the range of motion, like I said, incrementally over time. If there is no pain, right, basically stop if there's pain 6 out of 10. And you want to be working within about a 4 or 5 out of 10 pain rating. If there's no pain on isometric loading at all through the full range of motion, then progress to step 3. Makes sense. Anyway, lads, honestly, right, if you're enjoying this video, share this with a video right now with somebody you know who's injured. Honestly, do not keep this information to yourself. This is gold dust. I'm telling you this with absolute passion because I've seen this work day in, day out. I swear to God, this is some of the most powerful stuff I know. And I just wish everybody knew this. So get it out there. Honestly, lads, help me out on that. Seriously. Don't keep this to yourself. Step number 3, the eccentric phase, right? The purpose of the eccentric phase is to begin to build strength of the surrounding tissues of the weak area. I don't like calling things the injured area. It's not an injury, it's just weakness in a certain area. The injury was caused because it highlighted a weaker area, a discrepancy, whatever. It's complicated shit. Who cares? It's just a weak area. Do we need to get that area strong? Yes. Cool. So what do? Starts with body weight if you need to, or body weight, or with low resistance. 5 seconds on the eccentric phase. The eccentric phase is when you are under tension and your muscles are slowly lengthening. That is the eccentric portion of the rep. When the targeted muscle is slowly lengthening. Does that make sense? Cool. Through its full range of motion. Now we've already displayed that we can go through the full range of motion incrementally for isometric holds. Now we progress just to lengthening. However, when you get to the end range, you assist yourself coming up. I'm not gonna show you this on a video. I'm just gonna literally get my big camera out and I'm gonna show you here. So, say if I am doing eccentric loading of my hamstrings. I've got a hamstring tear, which, you know what, to be honest, this Monday I do. I've just trained legs. I would eccentrically load 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lengthen the hamstring, and I would assist myself back up in the top position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I would assist myself back up to the top position. That is me prioritising the eccentric portion of the rep in order to strengthen the muscles eccentrically. Let's get back to the slide. Hopefully appreciate the little demo. Could have went on Google. However, you probably appreciate and understand eccentrics, right? And eccentrics, right? People don't appreciate how good eccentric training is to gaining strength. This is the strongest part of the muscle when we are loading it eccentrically. So what you'll find is you'll be able to load this a little bit more than you expect, which is fine. But it's very important that you do eccentric only, a stage of eccentric only. Most people won't. Man, I swear to God, most people will do isometrics, they will get pain-free, and they will go back to craziness, mountain biking, rock climbing, skydiving, free running, and they will get a reoccurring injury. They think because they're pain-free, they're now strong as fuck. No, it doesn't work like that. Eccentrics, do them. This is where we start to build strength in this weaker area. Isometric training doesn't. Isometric training reduces pain and increases the range of motion. This is the start of the strength building phase. 5 seconds on the way down. Assist yourself coming up. And apply progressive overload. Progressive overload means every week you do heavier weights, and you will do that by increasing the weight that you lift, no more than 10% per week. So this requires you to track your lifts. Pick the exercises, pick 5 exercises, and how much weight did you lift? How many repetitions did you do? The volume on this is capped. When we are training our strength, men, the volume is capped. So this is now 10 to 15 sets per week. The reason being is if you do more than a certain amount of sets per week, you will have a drop off of strength. Very important. And exactly like before, you need to be consciously applying force in an area in which you think is injured, and you think the doctors said that you should rest and you should never do anything to ever aggravate it ever again, and you should stay in bed and be happy. And now I am telling you to work these areas very strategically, carefully and consciously. It requires a lot more concentration than just your normal training sessions, gentlemen. If there's no pain when you were eccentrically loading, then through its entire range, obviously, because no half reps here when you're trying to get your joints stronger, progress to step 4. Step 4, concentric only. The concentric phase is when the target muscle is shortening. Yeah? So concentric only. The purpose is to furthermore build strength of the surrounding tissues. However, we are prioritizing the different contraction here. Concentric contraction is this. What do? Again, exactly the same as the eccentric, right? However, we change up the tempo. We're going to focus 1 second on the key eccentric, and we're going to focus 5 seconds on the way up. For example, I've injured my bicep. I'm going to do a bicep curl. I'm going to go down. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's important that we monitor the speed in which we are doing each repetition in this phase, because we can start getting excited later on. Again, we apply progressive overload. We increase the weight week by week to get stronger. Strength is the intention. Strength reduces pain. Strength improves resilience. Again, because we are trying to improve strength, there is a cap of sets per week. No more than 10 to 15. Does that make sense? If there's no pain when you're concentrically loading the area through its entire range of motion, skip step 4 and go to step 5. Step 5, which I consider normal training, full range of motion phase, where you prioritize full range of motion exercises in the gym. The purpose of this is to turn the previously weaker area into one of your strengths. What you do, you start sub body weight, then move on to body weight, and then with low resistance, and then with medium resistance, heavy resistance. And this is the one where you are close to earning the right to train at a high intensity. Now, you're probably already there. You are probably training at a 90 to 95% intensity on some of the isometrics, some of the eccentrics, some of the concentrics at this point. So the transition to full range of motion will be an absolute doddle. However, there still needs to be a little bit of caution. You're still earning the right. So I reckon at the start of this step, you'll probably be about 80 to 85% intensity. But then you'll be soon after that, a couple of weeks down the line, you'll be at 90 and 95% full intensity weight training on the areas which are previously injured. I can't say how long this whole process will take because I don't know your recovery practices. I don't know how you eat. I don't know how well you sleep. I don't know how stressful your job is or your family life or anything like that. I don't know. You may take longer to absorb this type of training than somebody who doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? So I can't say that. However, I can still give you the guidance and literally watch you through the process and make changes throughout. Anyway, that's the longevity program. Jump on a call if you fancy a little bit of that. Same detail apply progressive overload. If there's no pain on the concentric loading of the area, happy days. You do your full range. If there's no pain on the full range, then you're going to progress on to the next step. Notice how the tempo changes. It's now 3 seconds on the eccentric, 1 second on the concentric with a 1 second pause. That's the only thing that changes. The speed, we change the speed up a little bit. We go a little bit faster on the repetitions. Right, now this is the final cherry on the top, gentlemen. It's step 6. And this is where we start bringing in a bit of athleticism, right? And this is where we truly build resilience. Step 6, the resilience phase. The purpose is to massively reduce or leave no question in your mind that this area is weak. This is where you completely gain full confidence that that area is no longer going to cause you any grief. And you do that by introducing impact. Yeah, and you also change the tempo again to faster repetitions. So you're going to do 1 second eccentric, you're going to do 1 second concentric. Bang, bang. So you're moving faster, but you've earned the right to move faster. You've earned the right to train at high intensity. You now have full range of motion. You are pain-free, but now you introduce high impact training. And I say do this. High impact training is training which causes your joints to be on the floor, bouncing on the floor. You're changing direction, jumping, sprinting, running. However you introduce it, and you introduce it carefully. Same detail. Progressive overload. With the new training variables, you're going to increase the weight with the new tempo of the weightlifting. With the new introduction of high impact training, you're going to apply progressive overload. If you go out for a 1 kilometer run and you have previous knee injuries and ankle or shin splints, at this point you're going to go for a 1 kilometer run. Happy days. And then week number 2, that might be a 1.1 kilometer run because you're increasing the distance. You're increasing the weight lifted on your weightlifting sessions, and your impact, weekly impact, is going to increase as well by 10% per week. Volume of the weightlifting sessions is now fully capped at 10 sets per week on a certain area. The resilience phase is what makes sure reoccurring injuries don't happen. Now, if you are one of them people that have had reoccurring injuries, you've got to look at yourself in the mirror and think about these gaps that you've missed. My promise at the start of the video is you were going to go away from this with a solid framework, a 6-step process on exactly what you should do after an injury, giving you full confidence and independence over your strength training and rehab. My final thoughts, gentlemen, right? Make sure you always earn the right to progress. Don't simply do a little bit of isometrics, then go on to eccentrics, and then a little bit of that, then why? Just follow the process. I swear to God, I'm not lying to you. When you do isometric training through a full range of motion and incrementally increase the range of motion, you will be pain-free in a matter of weeks. And that is when the real test starts. Because 9 out of 10 men, when they are pain-free, they are back to full sparring in martial arts. They're back to rock climbing thinking because they've had time out, they just want to get back at it, and it's not good enough. You need to start building the strength, then the resilience, then go back into it. You can probably return back to low intensity adventure sports and extreme sports probably after you've started full range of motion training. You could probably return back at a lower intensity, and then when you're on the resilience step, you can start upping the intensity, bearing in mind what I said about the 10% increases per week. Don't skip the steps. And this is a superpower, man. I swear to God, right? When I figured this out a few years ago, honestly, whenever I get it, injuries are inevitable. They're inevitable, especially with the things that we get ourselves up to, whether it be wakeboarding, surfing, kite surfing, skiing. We're going to get injured. We're just lunatics. It's just the way it is. And having the ability to get over your injuries is unbelievable. It's so good, because my previous self, I'd be waiting on in the UK. They have the NHS. They have very long waiting lists because it's free. I'd be waiting for a certain thing for like a year and a half and just not have a clue on how to get fixed or anything like that. And the prices of surgeries for keyhole and the surgeries for shoulder surgeries and stuff like that, the price for everything in America, it's mental. If you can do this yourself, you're going to have a lot more money in your pocket and a lot more confidence in training in general. Because if you can solve these intricate problems, the rest, normal training when you're not injured, is a doddle. An absolute doddle. And finally, don't keep this information to yourselves, man. A little bit of a longer one, just over half an hour, but help others with this. This video will change lives. And if you share this with them people, you will change their lives. You will get rid of their pain. I swear to God, you will increase their range of motion, you will increase their joint strength, and you will increase their resilience. Just by simply sharing this video. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I absolutely 100% appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. Thank you very much for sticking around. Hopefully you found the video useful. See you in the next one.